said it might stop offering individual plans through Obamacare, saying they just cost too much and don't attract enough healthy, younger subscribers. As for that boost in tech, at an investor meeting today, Intel announcing it's upping its cash dividend and raising its revenue guidance for next year. Shares up 4%. Two new stocks did well today. Shares of mobile payment system Square up 45% in its debut, and shares of Match, the dating site company, up 23% today. And the Gap cutting its outlook after revenue disappointed last quarter. Sales at its Banana Republic chain tumbling 12%, while sales at Old Navy up 4%. Shares down in late trading. I'm Tom Busby, CNBC.
There are no guarantees in love, but there is a guarantee from EH Plus by eHarmony, our new personal matchmaking service. At EH Plus, your own personal matchmaker gets to know you so well, we can guarantee introductions that will be satisfying and exciting. EH Plus goes far beyond regular online dating sites, and that's a guarantee. Visit us at ehplus.com/love or call 1-855-930-LOVE.
If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish and see what real value is. Call 877-319-6988. You can also save a bundle when you combine DishNet high-speed internet with your TV service. Call 877-319-6988. Programming starting as little as $29.99, plus access to thousands of movies and TV shows. Stream to your TV, smartphone, or tablet. Call 877-319-6988. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get Dish today.
Soft Talk. You're listening to KCAA Loma Linda at 106.5 FM, K293CF Moreno Valley.
Hi, I'm John Elway. Did you know that John Elway's Crown Toyota is the largest volume Toyota dealer in the Inland Empire? Here to give you the details is the General Sales Manager, Kara Brindley.
Well, John Elway's Crown Toyota, we listen to you. And ever since we've changed to our new process, we post our one price, which is our best price, up front on every single vehicle. Now, customers are telling me they look forward to buying their next car from us.
So come visit John Elway's Crown Toyota today in the Giant Ontario Auto Center where the 10 and 15 meet.
One price, simple, no games.
And John Elway brought to you by Open Season. Coming up next right here on KCAA 1050 AM. CHP investigators have been seeking witnesses to a two-vehicle crash that occurred on the 10 freeway in Pomona that claimed the life of a 33-year-old Chino woman. The victim, whose name has not been released, was westbound in a 2006 Scion TC west of White Avenue at about 4:32 a.m. Monday when her vehicle veered off the path of a westbound 2000 Ford Mustang driven by a 56-year-old Montclair woman. The Ford collided with the left side of the Scion, causing the Scion to veer to the right shoulder when it came to rest facing the wrong direction. The Scion driver suffered fatal head injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene. And race relations at the University of Redlands dominated a packed town hall discussion last night where minority students discussed their frustrations with diversity and inclusiveness on campus. The debate began after the university's theater department put on some sombreros and other costumes on sale in the days before Halloween. That prompted a backlash from minority students who felt their culture was being mocked, according to Jonathan Garcia, 22, a senior and Mexican American. He says that just acted as a catalyst. It opened up a broader discussion of race and diversity on campus as a whole. People very sensitive these days. Inland Empire weather, sunny and nice for the rest of the week. In fact, the whole entire weekend, right around 85 degrees is what you can expect under a sunny and clear sky. Right now, we are at 85 here in San Bernardino. And checking out your drive, the right lane is blocked on the 15 northbound just before Oak Hill Road as you make your way up to the pass. That's due to a car fire blocking that right lane. Traffic is backed up from the 138. But other than that, you are looking mighty fine out there. That is the very latest with news, weather, and traffic on the station that leaves no listener behind, KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
The Redlands Passenger Rail Project is going to happen. Get the information expressed on this story and more in the Redlands City News. Catch local stories posted online daily. The Redlands City News, online at redlandscitynews.com or in print at locations near you.
Your voice, your opinions, heard round the world at www.kcaaradio.com. The station that leaves no listener behind, KCAA.
It's open season on KCAA. Open season with Larry Burnett, Fred Wallen, and Mark Mancini. Three sports guys dropping gloves, tackling issues, and swinging for the fences. Now, here's your host, Larry Burnett.
All right, everybody, it is open season time once again. That's right, open season. This is the show that hits harder than Ronda Rousey's face. Oh, my goodness, did she get clobbered over the weekend. Open season being brought to you by John Elway's Crown Toyota in Ontario. They've got a comprehensive selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs, and their service department, it is second to none. So stop by at the 10 and the 15 and say hello to our friends at John Elway's Crown Toyota. They are ready to help you at 1201 Kettering Drive in Ontario. Be sure to tell them you heard all about them here on Open Season. I'm Larry Burnett. Our phone number is 909-888-1050 if you'd like to join our program. We've got Mark Mad Mancini with us. Madman, what's the good word today?
Well, it's King's hockey. That's what the good word is.
You got that right. Fred Wallen with us as well. Fred, what's on your mind?
Basketball tonight. Pepperdine versus UCLA. The Bruins are a 7-point favorite. Wish I could watch it, but I have DirecTV, of course, not carried. They do not carry the Pac-12 network.
Do I detect a soapbox coming up from Fred Wallen? I think I do. Special guest, LA Kings broadcaster and wine connoisseur Jimmy Fox will be joining us. He'll be talking about the first-place Kings who are playing in Detroit tomorrow night. All right, let's get to the teletopics. Let's make it happen right now with the noise and the news. The Dodgers say they'll have a manager soon, but they won't have a Cy Young winner. Oh, no. The Angels hoping to catch another award-winning Trout. We'll see. In hoops, McHale's Navy set sail without Kevin in Houston. And the Clips try to KO the unbeaten Warriors tonight. I'll bet you $1 million that the NHL's magic number is 3 for the All-Stars this year. It's a huge college football weekend for the Trojans and the Bruins, but not for Bama. And in the pros, Peyton Manning is a record-setting flop, and Cam Newton is dancing with the undefeated. Who knew? As we always say on Open Season, if it's news in sports, it's news to us. All right, starting off with college football, it is a big college football weekend. The rankings out again. Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, and Notre Dame, 1 through 4, same as last week. Stanford at number 11 this week, number 13, Utah, and USC at number 24. One of the games we're looking at this weekend, Saturday, 12:30 game. UCLA puts their 7-3 record on the line at number 13, Utah. Of course, the Bruins coming off that loss last week at Washington State. Fred Wallen, chime in. What are we thinking about the Bruins this week?
Well, we're thinking that Utah has the best coach in the conference, in Kyle Whittingham. The Bruins have found the referees as the problem, and once you start worrying about the referees and not the opponent, Fred gets scared. Fred gets frightened. And then if you look at the penalties, he's saying, well, we only had 2 defensive against us, against the defenses against us called all season long. Problem is, certain coaches coach not to commit penalties. Ohio State under Urban Meyer, they do not commit a lot of penalties. This has to go on Jim Moore and the assistants a little bit. They 6 or 7 penalties every game. I think they're second in the nation as far as the number of yards they give up on penalties over the entire season. And at Utah, that's going to be very, very tough. The Bruins were 2.5-point under. I have no opinion one way or the other as far as who's going to win, who's going to lose, because Josh Rosen has thrown 188 consecutive passes without an interception. But still, if you're looking for excuses, Larry and Mark, aren't you giving yourself an excuse?
Well, listen, it was agonizing. It was the agony and the ecstasy last week, just in reverse, because we had the ecstasy of seeing the Bruins come back and get on top in that game, and then the agony of seeing them blow it up. What did you think of that game last week, Madman?
Well, I'll tell you, typical game. UCLA, went back and forth, toe-to-toe, and, the penalties killed them. They were borrowing shades of the Oakland Raiders years ago, and every time the Raiders would hike the ball, it seemed like somebody was either offsides or a penalty. But I disagree with Fred. Willingham's a good coach, but you're looking at probably the best coach if he can run the table right now in this conference, and that's Helton. I'm on the wagon train. If Helton knocks out Oregon and UCLA, you got to give this guy props. What he's done with USC, resurrected them from the dead.
Well, that's a big if to run the table. They USC number 24 this week. They're 7-3. They're at Oregon. Both teams have won 4 games in a row, and of course, last week it was the Trojans getting a win and taking it 27-24. And, next week it's UCLA and USC going at each other. So if they both can win on Saturday, we got a big game coming up that following week. Fred, what are you thinking about the Trojans this week?
Well, as far as USC is concerned, again, they lost two of their linebackers. And against a healthy Vernon Adams, the way he's playing now, that could be a problem. On the other side, I've said this from the start, I think the Trojans have as much offensive talent as anybody in the nation. So you got to figure a high-scoring game. I don't think there's any question about that. You can make a case for both sides. And folks, if you want my opinion on the game, and USC's a 4-point underdog, you can go to phoenixsports.com. But the point is that both teams are playing very well. And Mark's point about Helton is fine, except Whittingham's been at Utah a long period of time versus a few games for Helton. So I think you got to say that Whittingham, there's not the same talent going to Utah and Salt Lake City as going to Los Angeles, California, and the Trojans at USC. And Larry, Mark, would you agree on that? So, it's tough to say that Helton's a better coach than Whittingham based on 4 or 5 games.
Well, exactly. And there's a lot of people saying, you should give Helton the job now. No, I don't think so. I think you have to see how they play out the rest of the season. If you sign him on now and everything goes to hell in the next couple of weeks, then you're in a worse situation than you were before. I think it's important that they get somebody in that job as quickly as possible as far as recruiting is concerned. But you got to have the right person in there, and I'm not sure that I think the jury's still out on Helton, although things have been very positive so far. And I'll tell you this, I talked with his dad, Kim, yesterday, who lives down in Florida. And he said, his son, Clay, and certainly he's biased, is always interested in the welfare of the players. And I think all indications are that that's the case. But when it comes down to it, it comes down to winning games, and we'll see what happens. There are some other big games this weekend. Ranked teams. Number 9, Michigan State going against number 3, Ohio State. Number 10, Baylor going against number 6, Oklahoma State. Had a big win last week. And then you look at number 2, Alabama, and they're playing Charleston Southern, and somehow Nick Saban is going on the air and saying that they shouldn't be overlooked. But a game like that at this point in the season, that kind of chaps my butt. Mancini, what do you think?
I'm with Saban on this. He's just trying to play the part. He's on his soapbox and just trying to downplay it. I told you this a long time ago, and I'll tell you, Alabama and Ohio State, I'll give you guys everybody in this, the other 18 teams if you want to go top 20. But, these two teams are machines, man, and Alabama's got the best defense in the country, and if anybody can prove me wrong, it's not going to be this week. It could be when Auburn plays them or, whoever else comes through this whole neck of the woods. But Alabama's high and above everybody else in this conference.
Now, wait a minute. Aren't you the guy that at the beginning of the year was up in arms because all these great teams were playing cream puffs?
Well, it's a cream puff, but it's a cream puff with a little whipped cream on and a cherry, and he's just trying to enjoy, his little winning streak there. So,
it's a pastry. A pastry is a pastry. Fred, what are you thinking? Any games you're looking at this week in college football, real quick, that you like?
Well, let me just say this: the difference between the SEC and the Pac-12 very simple. Pac-12, you have to play 9 games in the conference. SEC, you get to play 8. That's why Charleston Southern against Alabama this week, while USC battles Oregon. Now, if you want to balance things out, if you want to tell the conferences they all have to play a certain number of games, maybe you go in that direction. But obviously, it's a major advantage for the SEC versus the Pac-12 when one can play Charleston Southern and the other has to play UCLA next week and Oregon this week. It's pretty tough for USC and obviously for UCLA and for everybody in the Pac-12.
Well, and the Pac-12 shot himself in the foot last week anyway, so I'm not sure exactly what they're playing for. We're going to take a time out here. Still to come on Open Season, we'll talk Dodgers, we'll talk Angels, Clippers, and Warriors. And up next, Jim Fox checks in from Detroit. We'll talk about the red-hot LA Kings when we come back.
Hi, I'm John Elway. Did you know that John Elway's Crown Toyota is the largest volume Toyota dealer in the Inland Empire? Here to give you the details is the General Sales Manager, Kcaa Brindley.
Well, at John Elway's Crown Toyota, we listen to you. And ever since we've changed to our new process, we post our one price, which is our best price, up front on every single vehicle. Now, customers are telling me they look forward to buying their next car from us.
So come visit John Elway's Crown Toyota today in the Giant Ontario Auto Center where the 10 and 15 meet.
One price, simple, no games.
Ever wonder how celebrities get their skin red carpet ready? Look no further than the Fire and Ice Facial from Is Clinical, available at Nina MD Beverly Hills. The Fire and Ice Facial is an amazing clinical treatment designed to rapidly and safely regenerate the skin, reducing fine lines and wrinkles for an envious glow, while smoothing and softening to achieve that ageless face. Excellent for all skin types and ages, Is Clinical's Fire and Ice Facial is a celebrity favorite and provides dramatic results with no downtime, peeling, or side effects. The Fire and Ice Facial is normally $215, but call 310-777-7511 now. Mention this ad and pay only $179. That's over $35 in savings just by mentioning this ad. Don't miss out on glowing and radiant skin from Is Clinical and Nina MD Beverly Hills. For more info, visit ninamd.com or call 310-777-7511. That's 310-777-7511. Ever wonder how celebrities get their skin red carpet ready? Look no further than the Fire and Ice Facial from Is Clinical, available at Nina MD Beverly Hills. The Fire and Ice Facial is an amazing clinical treatment designed to rapidly and safely regenerate the skin, reducing fine lines and wrinkles for an envious glow, while smoothing and softening to achieve that ageless face. Excellent for all skin types and ages, Is Clinical's Fire and Ice Facial is a celebrity favorite and provides dramatic results with no downtime, peeling, or side effects. The Fire and Ice Facial is normally $215, but call 310-777-7511 now. Mention this ad and pay only $179. That's over $35 in savings just by mentioning this ad. Don't miss out on glowing and radiant skin from Is Clinical and Nina MD Beverly Hills. For more info, visit ninamd.com or call 310-777-7511. That's 310-777-7511.
If you're trying to prevent home foreclosure, you need a law firm with extensive experience representing clients in protecting their homes from foreclosure. The Goodman Law Firm is a nationwide team of mortgage mitigation attorneys that provides legal advice and expertise you can trust. Our nationwide network includes local of-counsel foreclosure attorneys to represent you during the mortgage mitigation process. The Goodman firm has represented homeowners across the nation in resolving their troubled mortgages. We have the experience and the knowledge you can count on to best represent your interests. The banks have attorneys fighting to protect their interests, and so should you. Call the Goodman Law Firm at 888-800-6030. Take control of your mortgage situation today. Contact us at 888-800-6030 or through our website at arnoldgoodmanlaw.com.
Welcome back to Open Season here on Kcaa. Larry Burnett, Fred Wallen, and Mark Mancini. And it is time to talk hockey right now. And joining us, LA Kings broadcaster Jim Fox. Of course, he played his entire career with the Kings, and he is in Detroit, where the first-place Kings take on the Red Wings Friday night. And, of course, Jim, the pride of Coniston, Canada, and a wine connoisseur at that. Jim Fox from Detroit. How you doing, Jimmy?
We're doing great, Larry. Thank you very much. I hope everything's going all right right now. I'm actually sitting right now in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'm at Yost Ice Arena, where University of Michigan Wolverines play their ice hockey. So just taking a little tour with John Rosen, our insider, who's the alumnus of University of Michigan. So having a great time.
Oh, very cool. And you should be having a good time on the broadcast with Bob Miller, because you got a team that's won 3 in a row. They've got 12 wins, and they're in first place in the Pacific Division. What's going on with the Kings?
You know what? I'm extremely impressed with the record so far of the Kings, and I guess that kind of means that I didn't necessarily expect them to be as strong as they have been. There was a lot of concern about depth on defense. There was a lot of concern about maybe some veteran players that left the team for various reasons, and how do you replace that?
Right.
The winners that left the Kings. So I think, if anything right now, I think, hey, I'm a former player. I'm going to give all the credit to the players. But I'll tell you what, the Kings coaching staff has done a heck of a job this year to get them where they are right now.
Well, they get them back on their feet, and when you get great goaltending, that helps. And Jonathan Quick looks like he's back on his game.
Yeah, world class. I mean, that's the word. That's the term to describe Jonathan Quick. He did have a slow start to the season where there was a few weird goals happening early on. First 3 games, Kings lost to Staples Center to start the season. Didn't look good that way for the team. Jonathan was maybe just a little bit off, but I mean, since that point, and then you go into the last game where the Kings win in a shootout over Philadelphia, but you have to go through the 3-on-3, and that's when you get to see Jonathan Quick.
Yeah.
We're not only lucky that he's a great goaltender that he is, but sometimes nowadays, and I'm not complaining, but the modern-day goaltender is more of a blocker of the puck. He just kind of uses his size and doesn't do much as far as movement. Jonathan Quick is fun to watch. He's athletic. He's all over the place. And the one thing he does, he stops the puck.
I want to talk to you about the scoring in just a little bit, but let's bring in Mark Mancini. Madman, you're on with Jim Fox.
Wow, pour me a Merlot, give me a steak, let me watch some Penguins hockey along with Kings hockey. We'll be all set, Jim.
We'll go Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir. That's what you go for.
All right, well, let's get to the point here. Jim has his own...
Jim, when I look at the Kings, Jonathan Quick, I haven't seen a goalie like this, and I'm not being biased with Marc-Andre Fleury, but I haven't seen a good goalie like this in a long time since Patrick Waugh. How important is it to have a good goalie? I mean, the defense is a big thing to have where the goalie can see the shots, but how important is it to have Jonathan there to just carry this team, especially in Philadelphia in that shootout?
It is the intangible that gets a team to win a championship, and the Kings, of course, have won 2 in the last 4 years. It is that intangible because you see the results, you see his style, you see the numbers, and they're very impressive. But then what you're talking about is the belief system, the guys around him. When you know you have a goaltender like that, world class, top of the league, top of the world, you know that you're going to have a chance every single night. And as a group, the Kings kind of have a style where they're in just about every game. They don't beat themselves. And when you have a goaltender like Jonathan Quick, you get near the end of the game, and that just becomes even more important. So you can't win without good goaltending. It's happened very rarely, but it's a big part of that belief system where the team pulls together.
Fred Wallen, take your shot at Jim Fox.
Hey, Jimmy, let me throw you a question. I've been watching hockey since I was 6 years of age, even though I don't ice skate. I was okay with the overtime. I think the fans deserve to know getting a winner and a loser when they go to a game. I'm even okay with the 3-on-3 idea in overtime. But now I read they're thinking about making the nets wider. Now, I think records are part of the game, all games. I mean, it would be like pushing the pitching mound back from 60 feet 6 inches to 62 feet, and then saying somebody hits .420 and he's better than Ty Cobb. Are you in favor of them widening the nets, figuring that fans want more goals?
I am not in favor of that. No, I think it's come out because oftentimes, I think, in all honesty, in North America, not in Canada, but in the United States, maybe the NHL has a little bit of an inferiority complex when it comes to the people covering the game. And I think they're trying to just figure out something because everyone's talking about the lack of scoring and the goals. And I think you have to do it, like the NFL did it, for instance. You've got to tweak the rules. I mean, can you imagine playing defensive back nowadays in the NFL? You can't touch anyone. You can't do anything. They're going to call a penalty on you. So the NHL has done that. They've worked on the fouls that are restraining fouls, and they're a lot more tighter that way. No, it's not going to happen. Mike Babcock is the best coach in the NHL, considered by many. Of course, in L.A., we would side with Daryl Sutter, but he came out the other day saying he wants to have bigger nets, but he said it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Tweak the rules, do some things, get it going, make it more exciting. It's a great game. The athletes nowadays are the best they've ever been. The chances are there. The bottom line, though, guys, is that the goaltending position has become dominant. So you got to figure out other ways to get it done, and you figure that out by opening up the game a little bit more, as much as you can, with other rules.
Well, and the other thing about it, too, Jim, and we're talking with Jim Fox, LA Kings broadcaster, is up in the Detroit area for tomorrow night's game. Jonathan Quick has said, maybe you cut down on the size of the pads that the goalies have, and that's a way to do it. And let's not forget, they have lowered the mound in baseball over the years to try to even the playing field and get more offense in that way. But let me ask you about 3-on-3, because I think it's been a big hit so far. And then I heard yesterday that the NHL is going to throw out its traditional all-star format and turn that into a 3-on-3 tournament with the ultimate winner getting $1 million. What are you thinking of that?
I'm loving it. I think, first of all, I'm not... The NHL All-Star Game, it's unreasonable to assume that you're going to have a regular... They're saying, well, just tell the guys to go half speed or no. You can't. It's a physical game.
Right.
So when you have an all-star game, the risk is just too much. You cannot expect a regular style game when you're talking about an all-star game when you're playing physical sport. Football and hockey are the same. You know, in basketball, baseball, they can kind of have it because the physicality issue is not as big and the risk of injury is not as big. So having said that, yeah, the game did degrade for a while. It went down. It became too slow. It became a little bit too much. Now, I think a little bit of monetary incentive. 11 guys splitting $1 million. No matter if you're making $5-10 million a year, that's $90,000. That's pretty good. You know what's that? Some guys are going to give that to charity. They're going to give it away. That's what's going to happen. But it will be a fun thing. It'll be more entertaining. You'll see the skill. In 3-on-3 in the regular season, like we're seeing now, you can't be physical because if you take a run at someone, you're getting out of position and you're exposed.
Right.
So I think it's a great way to play an exciting part of the game without the risk of the physicality. I think it's good for the fans. The All-Star Game's there for the fans, the sponsors, and the home city. It's not a game. It's not a competition. It's just one of those things, but they're going to make it a lot more fun.
I like the fact that they're trying to come up with something new, a new way of doing it. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Mancini, jump in here with Jim Fox.
Jim, it's a 5-game road trip. You went to 2 cold weather cities, and then by the time this trip ends, you're going to be pulling out the shorts and sandals. Am I correct?
You know what? We were looking at. I tried to call Gary Bettman, the commissioner, to if we're going to have these trips to Florida, they should be in February. I mean, it's still too nice to be going all the way to Florida. I mean, we're not even gaining anything out of it. But it's been mild. It was mild in Philadelphia. It's pretty mild here in Detroit. So you know what? When you look at the respective records of the teams the Kings are playing on this trip, and I don't do that. I still have the players' mentality where it's that one game at a time. You've got to readjust and you get your scouting report. But there's some winnable games on this trip, and because of that slow start the Kings had at home, the Kings have only lost once on the road, and that kind of fits. That kind of fits the personality of the team a little bit more. Where the Kings are known as a team that doesn't necessarily worry about wowing you; they just worry about getting the 2 points. I think that works more on the road. So it's a chance here with 4 more games on a 5-game trip and some winnable games.
Hey, Jimmy, let me ask you a question. You mentioned injuries before. Is the NHL doing enough as far as concussions concerned? You were a very good player in the National Hockey League. You got hit a lot of times. I saw you get hit against the boards and the head and the whole thing. Is the NHL doing enough to protect its players?
I think they are. I think they've addressed it by the rules. And, of course, how you enforce those rules, it's very difficult. We get on the on-ice officials quite a bit. Most people do. But in real time, to see whether the principal point of contact was the head versus the shoulder, it's so difficult. But, the NHL has really taken it a step further. And now when they go with supplemental discipline, they have a great use of the video. They break it down. They provide the video for us, the media, and the fans to take a look at it and at least accept their reasoning for it. You don't always agree, but you see that they're going through a step-by-step process to come to that. So I think the rules have been changed to make sure the players are watching out for each other when it comes to the concussions. I think when things
Jimmy,
are taken advantage of, I think the enforcement, it helps too to make sure that the players are taken care of.
We're up against a break here, but we're going to stretch it out because I have 2 questions I want to ask you. One is, I know you're the commissioner of the Kings High School Hockey League. Bring us up to speed on that. And the other, what is this wine business that you're in?
Yeah, I can start with the important thing, and that is the high school hockey league.
There you go.
Sure.
Yeah, 2 separate conversations.
Yeah. 8 teams this year. It's our first year. Anaheim has a league themselves. We're kind of separate from each other, but we're going to get together in the next couple of years. Our league is going to grow. It's an option for kids. What's happening right now, Larry, we're finding it in youth hockey. If kids get to the AAA level and they don't make the AAA teams, then they kind of quit. So we're looking for an option for them to stay aboard. And you know what? It's going to grow. It's going to get better. The competition is going to go up, and the athletes are going to get better. It's just a matter of there's so many kids in California, so many kids in LA. It's going to happen that way. So we're very excited about the high school hockey league. It's our first year, 8 teams. We're going to grow. It'll get better. But I'm just very happy with the coaching. I'm happy with the kids and the schools that are involved. It's great right now. So, again, of course,
Jimmy, if people want to get involved, how can they find out about it?
LAKleague.com. LAKleague.com. So LAKleague.com. Find out all the information you want about the high school. Again, we will grow. More kids will start playing. There's a process that will start here in the new year. We're working all the way for next season, so it runs basically the same fall till spring, and that's what we're looking for.
And speaking of growing, you're growing grapes these days?
Yes, Kcaa Cellars. We just released our third vintage, which was our 2013 vintage. So, yes, we make single vineyard desert Pinot Noir from Sonoma Coast AVA and from Santa Lucia Highland AVA. So it's going very well. It's being well received. Mike Smith's our winemaker. It's very, very high quality. Our grapes, we do a lot to make sure we're sourcing the best fruit we can. And I cannot be more proud of Kcaa, my partner Dean Nusich, my wife Susie, and myself, along with Mike Smith. It's a mom and pop organization, but the wine is fantastic.
And it's spelled Patine, and it is available locally?
It is available at patnacellars.com. So there's a little accent on the E, but it's Patine, and then cellars like wine, so Cellars. But that's where you can get it. It's something that's going very, very well, and we're looking forward to go. It's something that people say is a passion. I say no, it's my life now. Any non-hockey minute is a wine minute. It's a good thing, but it's something that's very interesting to me. I became involved in it about 25 years ago and just grew into it, and now I just love it. Go walk the vineyards, look at the fruit, pick the fruit. It's phenomenal.
So, Jim, before we let you go, do you ever sneak a bottle into your briefcase and you and Bob Miller have a few pops before a game?
I do not have to do that because Bob brings his own. So he's ready for that. Bob's been around long enough time to know what's going on. So
tell Bob we said hello. Have fun on the road trip. I'm glad we had a chance to get you on open season, Jim. Thanks so much.
Hey, guys, thanks very much. Appreciate it. Anytime. Thank you.
Okay, this is Jim Fox, LA Kings broadcaster and wine connoisseur. That's Patine Cellars wine. Just ahead on open season, we'll talk Clippers, we'll talk Dodgers and the NFL. So stick around. We're here on KCAA AM and FM.
Have you ever gone to use a flashlight and the batteries were dead or the inside of the flashlight corroded, only having to throw it away? Or in a location where you had no way to charge your cell phone or camera? Well, all that has changed. Now there's Hybrid Light. The Hybrid Light brings the best of both worlds together with a strong 160 lumen LED light that lasts 12 hours on a single charge, and after a recharge from any light or power source, you're ready to go again. Hybrid Light lasts 7 long years and is even waterproof, and also contains a USB port to plug in your cell phone or camera to give you that special charge when you're not near an outlet. All this for the low price of $39.95 with promo code GARY. Call 1-800-297-8109 and be the first to have this great tool, or go to our website, hybridlight.com. That's 800-297-8109 or hybridlight.com, hybridlight.com, and don't forget to use promo code GARY.
Hi, I'm John Elway. Did you know that John Elway's Crown Toyota is the largest volume Toyota dealer in the Inland Empire? Here to give you the details is the General Sales Manager, Kara Brindley.
Well, John Elway's Crown Toyota, we listen to you. And ever since we've changed to our new process, we post our one price, which is our best price, up front on every single vehicle. Now, customers are telling me they look forward to buying their next car from us.
So come visit John Elway's Crown Toyota today in the Giant Ontario Auto Center where the 10 and 15 meet.
One price, simple, no games.
All right, back once again on open season, and we are being brought to you by John Elway's Crown Toyota on Kettering Drive in Ontario. Be sure to check them out on Kettering Drive in Ontario. Larry Burnett and Fred Wallen and Mark Mancini, and thanks to Jim Fox for coming in. I want to talk some baseball, and I'm just reading right now, Bryce Harper, unanimous choice as National League Most Valuable Player. And we're waiting to see if Mike Trout wins that award in the American League. We did hear from the Dodgers this week about their manager situation. And Fred, they say they're going to have it solved by this weekend. And it looks like Dave Roberts and Gabe Kapler are the finalists going into the weekend.
We don't know which one will be the best manager. Basically, neither has ever managed. I mean, in minor leagues, but never on the major league level. And certainly they're both young, both very bright guys. And I honestly think the betting is on Kapler because he's close to Friedman. But Dave Roberts, I think, I've interviewed him a few times, a very intelligent guy, UCLA guy. I think he would be a great manager. I mean, between the two of them, I mean, if you had a chance to steal Joe Madden from Chicago, I would steal Joe Madden. But since they couldn't get him last year, and they still had Donnie B, they're stuck between the two guys. Obviously, of the three, though, Bud Black, in my mind, would have been the obvious choice, and now apparently he's in the Angel front office.
Yeah, looks like he's going to sign on with the Angels front office. Kapler, it seems, is the choice of the Dodgers front office because he's more of an analytics guy. Yeah. Dave Roberts, and apparently ownership, is jumping in and trying to look for a little more balance. Here's a guy who's a little bit old school but open-minded enough to kind of look at the analytics and do the things that the front office wants. What do you think about the two guys in the final running here, Mancini?
Well, the Dodgers in this offseason, we've basically seen Don Mattingly go, and we've basically now we're down to two choices. Either one of them would probably work out. I don't know. It's not my logical choice. I got to agree with Fred. Bud Black would have been the guy, but he hightailed it. And now the Dodgers are left with one of these guys, and hopefully they can turn something around that doesn't look very promising going into next year.
My guess is that Bud Black is either too old school for the Dodgers or Bud Black thought that the new management there was too new school for him. But we'll have to wait and see. What's on your mind, Fred?
I was going to ask Mark a question since he's such a homer. That's why we call him the madman himself. Rumors are flying, Larry, and Mark knows this. Dodgers are trying to steal Neil Walker from the Pirates. How do you feel about that? The Pirates cannot re-sign all their guys. He's not a free agent.
That's a homegrown
have
guy.
To give up somebody
they're trying to do something, but I think he'll stay in Pittsburgh. He's happy. He does a lot of work in Pittsburgh. But, as far as the Dodgers are concerned, if you lose Greinke, you've already signed one journeyman guy. The Dodgers need leaders there. If you're not going to pay for the Prices and the Cuetos, then go out and get a lackey, somebody that's a gamer, somebody that just give me the ball. And they haven't had that since Kirk Gibson. This team just doesn't have talent. I mean, it's potential talent, but it just doesn't have talent. There's not a leader there. And call me wrong, but I'm just laying it out there with gas cans.
Well, Cy Young Award came out this week. Jake Arrieta of the Cubs won it. Greinke came in second. Kershaw third. Surprise to you, Fred, at all?
No, and I looked at the numbers, and even with Kershaw going against Greinke, it didn't make any difference. That Kershaw did not get enough first or second place votes to steal it from Greinke and give it to Arrieta. We were talking a couple nights ago off the air that maybe that was the reason, but no, Arrieta won it by going away. And I think the voting is 7 points for first, and then 4 for second, and 3, 2, and 1. And again, Kershaw did not get enough first or second place votes to make any difference. Arrieta, you can't argue. If they had voted Greinke, I couldn't have argued, and I can't argue with Arrieta. The second half of the season, maybe in the history of baseball, nobody's much better.
Absolutely fantastic. He got 17 first place votes. Greinke had 10, and Kershaw had 3. So the Cubs get the Cy Young Award winner, Rookie of the Year in Chris Bryant, and Manager of the Year in Joe Madden. You got any gripe with the Cy Young Award pick, Mancini?
Well, I would have went with Greinke. I just think there's a lot of games.
You wouldn't be wrong. For him. You wouldn't be wrong.
I just think the way he, there wasn't a lot of run support for him. I would have gave it to Greinke. But getting back to that National League MVP, hands down, Bryce Harper is one of the best in baseball, if not the best. The style he plays, the all-out and everything. In the American League, I really think Donaldson's going to get it. I think Donaldson's going to edge out Trout, but two great guys. But boy, Harper, that was unanimous.
Yeah, I think Donaldson is the MVP in the American League. I think he had a better year than Trout overall. And remember that the slump that Trout was in for a while. Over in the American League, you got Dallas Ketchel, Cy Young Award winner there. David Price finished second. Sonny Gray finished third. Now the Angels, we talked about Bud Black going into the front office over there. Interesting, they signed Ron Renicky back to be their third base coach. And we didn't get a chance to talk about this last week, but the Angels made a trade. They sent Eric Ibar and 2 of their top pitching prospects to Atlanta last week for a Gold Glove shortstop in Andrelton Simmons and a catcher as well. I think he's a good pickup. I think he helps, but I'm not sure he fills the needs that this team has. What are you thinking there, Mark?
Well, I like to pick up 26 years old defensive wizard the Angels are now trying to solidify their foundation. Bud Black reunited with Mike Sochi. You bring Renicky in the mix. You got a young general manager there. I like the direction, but the Angels are going to need to get some bats in there. Another bat and maybe some another starter. And then, the Angels will be right back in the thick of things. They only finished 3 games out of the American League West last year.
Well, but they gave up 2 top pitching prospects in the deal, and that's one of the things. And the other thing about Simmons is that he's locked up for a few years, and Ibar would have been gone probably after the end of last year. Fred, what are you thinking about what the Angels are doing in the offseason?
Well, again, Garrett Richards is supposedly a dominating pitcher, but he certainly was not in 2015. So you need a shortstop who can make some great plays. Now, Ibar's a good shortstop. Simmons, if you watch him the last 3 years, is the best shortstop. Statistics or no statistics.
Defensively.
I don't care, analytics or not. If you just watch enough Braves games, he makes plays that no other shortstop can make. As you indicated, he signed till 2020. Ibar would have had to sign a long-term contract. He's already 31 versus 26 in Simmons. So they got the guy in his best part of his career, barring an injury. I think that if you don't have a dominating pitching staff, and the Angels will not, I think you have to have it's great that you have a shortstop like this. Now, if these 2 pitchers, and they were the number 1 and number 2 in the minor league system for the Angels, they turn out to be great pitchers. Shut up, Fred. But I'm just saying you can't be guaranteed of that. A lot of minor leaguers haven't proven to be great major leaguers.
Well, and listen, if you want the world, and of course we always do, you'd like it if Simmons could hit a little bit, and hits just a little bit, no question about it. Let's switch gears here before we get to a break. College hoop season, man, where did that come from? All of a sudden it's on top of us. UCLA starts off 1-1 against some mediocre talent, and they've got Pepperdine tonight, Fred.
Now, Larry and Mark, you guys are sports junkies. If I told you the first 2 games of the season, my Bruins of UCLA had 35 assists and 34 turnovers, what would you say? Please say.
I'd say Steve Alford has got a gun to his head right about now.
Okay. Dan Guerrero may be okay in the minor league sports. He's the athletic director at UCLA. Yep. He's made nothing but mistakes time and time again since he's been there in the major decisions. Don't tell me Carl Durrell and Rick Neuheisel were the best 2 possible coaches on the football side. You lose Howland because he deserved to lose his job. There are a lot of better coaches than Steve Alford. Steve Alford was a great shooter in college. He was a good player in the NBA. He'd be a good shooting coach off a 3-year or 2 years and 2 games. He's just a very average head coach. And this is UCLA. You had your choice of better. Dan Guerrero didn't go for better. USC's got a better coach in Andy Enfield, and he'll prove it over the years.
Well, he's got to start proving it soon.
Well, but he will. And at least my hunch is he will. And the people at New Mexico, the fans wanted Alford to go. Folks at Iowa didn't care if he left. Southern Missouri, they didn't care if he left. And I don't care if he leaves UCLA, but he's not a great coach, and UCLA deserves better. Again, 35 versus 34, no sell.
And this is against some pretty weak teams along the way as well. Yeah. We talked about USC. They're off to a 2-0 start, and they're taking on New Mexico on Saturday. But I'll tell you what, Madman, when you look over at UCLA, we're not seeing any flashbacks of John Wooden these days, are we?
No, we're not. And I got a lot of ties with that Pepperdine basketball program. I'm hoping they put a number on UCLA tonight. But I feel like I got ripped off. I was enjoying the Pittsburgh-Gonzaga game, and then all of a sudden the floor turned into a hockey rink, and I thought we could knock off the number 8 team in the country in Gonzaga. So I feel like I got ripped off. So I'm hoping in one hand Pepperdine knocks out UCLA, and I'm ticked off that Pittsburgh couldn't finish the job on Gonzaga.
Well, in one way, Fred, you and Mark are actually on the same wavelength, because if Pepperdine can knock off UCLA, then Steve Alford's got one more foot out the door with the Bruins. So I know who you're rooting for tonight, but I'm just saying there may be another side to this.
The Bruins are a 7-point pick. We'll see what happens. But again, I'm going to repeat, folks, those numbers. I've never heard numbers like this. 35 assists, 34 turnovers. That's impossible unless Steve Alford's your coach.
Wait till you hear Kobe's shooting statistics. Coming right up, the Clippers taking on the undefeated, and only 2 undefeateds left in the NFL. Open season being brought to you tonight by John Elway's Crown Toyota in Ontario.
Hi, I'm John Elway. Did you know that John Elway's Crown Toyota is the largest volume Toyota dealer in the Inland Empire? Here to give you the details is the General Sales Manager, Kcaa Brindley.
Well, John Elway's Crown Toyota, we listen to you. And ever since we've changed to our new process, we post our one price, which is our best price, up front on every single vehicle. Now, customers are telling me they look forward to buying their next car from us.
So come visit John Elway's Crown Toyota today in the Giant Ontario Auto Center where the 10 and 15 meet.
One price, simple, no games.
If you're trying to prevent home foreclosure, you need a law firm with extensive experience representing clients in protecting their homes from foreclosure. The Goodman Law Firm is a nationwide team of mortgage mitigation attorneys that provides legal advice and expertise you can trust. Our nationwide network includes local of-counsel foreclosure attorneys to represent you during the mortgage mitigation process. The Goodman firm has represented homeowners across the nation in resolving their troubled mortgages. We have the experience and the knowledge you can count on to best represent your interests. The banks have attorneys fighting to protect their interests, and so should you. Call the Goodman Law Firm at 888-800-6030. Take control of your mortgage situation today. Contact us at 888-800-6030 or through our website at arnoldgoodmanlaw.com.
All right, back once again on Open Season on this Thursday afternoon. It is a gorgeous Thursday afternoon here in Southern California. Glad to have you with us. Larry Burnett, Fred Wallen, Mark Mancini, and we had Jim Fox from the LA Kings on a little bit earlier talking about the Kings, who are just red hot and in Detroit on a road trip, and they'll play against the Red Wings tomorrow night. Want to talk NFL now. Tonight's game, Tennessee at Jacksonville. Two good young quarterbacks, two teams not really going a whole lot of places. And when talking about two, the number of undefeated teams in the NFL is down to two now. You got the Pats and you got the Pants. What are we thinking about? Have either of these teams got a chance to make it through the season undefeated?
Well, if you look at the Patriots' schedule, I mean, yeah, they've got a real good shot to go undefeated. They're a 7-point favorite on Sunday. On Monday, I think I would take the Bills in the 7. And folks, you can go to phoenixsports.com for my thoughts on things. But I think they got a really good shot to go undefeated. I don't think Carolina will, and I really haven't looked that closely at their schedule. I just don't think their wide receivers are good enough. Newton is sort of doing this alone. I just don't see them winning all their games, just like I didn't see Cincinnati obviously winning all their games. But I think the Patriots definitely could do what they did in 2007 and go all the way.
And I imagine the Madman is just thrilled to hear that.
Madman.
Well, I'm looking at the schedule with Tennessee and Jacksonville. That's a yawner. I'll be watching the Bucks and Cavs on TNT. But getting back to the Patriots, I was talking to a guy in Boston today. He's a little skeptical with Edelman now out, but you know what? I said, no need to worry. We're going to see Roger Goodell give Tom Brady and Bill Belichick that trophy again come February. This team is it's amazing what they are doing. It's amazing how far ahead of the league they are. And I really, thought Bradshaw was the best quarterback I saw growing up. But, boy, I'll tell you, Tom Brady's making me a believer every week. 40 seconds, 50 seconds on the clock. The Giants can't stop them. I mean, the Patriots are just head and shoulders above the rest of the league.
They were hanging on by their fingernails in that game against the Giants and still managed to get it 27-26. We were talking about the Panthers. A lot of talk this week about Cam Newton and his dance in the end zone that didn't make a whole lot of people happy. And I guess moms are tweeting in and saying, "My kids are watching. Why are you doing this?" They're going to emulate it. I think it was a little bit over the top. But listen, this is showbiz. We're looking at showbiz. You got to have some fun, I think, Fred.
I disagree. I think, as Jim Brown said, hand the ball to the official like you've scored before, and don't do any dancing in the end zone. Don't do any somersaults in the end zone. I just like it. Just hand the ball to the darn official after you score a touchdown. And a couple of times we've seen guys over the last couple of years, Larry and Mark, they've actually dropped the ball to be funny right before they scored, so they ended up not scoring. They were showboating. So I mean, it's come back to hit them. I don't like it, and we disagree. Mark, break the tie. You like it or don't like it?
Well, emotions play out in a lot of things. You can hit the lottery and get excited. I mean, it's a big thing, and sometimes their emotions. I don't think he's showboating to the point. I think he's excited. Heck, if we hit a lottery, the three of us, I might give you guys hugs and stuff. It's just the emotion. You're just wrapped up in it. So I look at it like totally different.
But
I'm going to speak for Fred here. We'd appreciate it if you give us some money and hold off on the hugs.
Yeah. But Mark, the difference would be 20 million, 5 million or 2 million or 200,000 people wouldn't be watching you if you're dancing. In Cam's case and in other people's cases, you do that. And let me bring something up here. I don't know if we brought this up last week or not, but everybody's talking about the Chargers are off last week. You got to play Stevie Johnson this week against Kansas City. He's the guy that was tackled on the 4-yard line. It would have been first down and goal to goal from the 4. He was upset he didn't score, so he slammed the ball into the ground. He got a 5-yard penalty. The Chargers ended up not scoring, ended up losing, of course, 2 weeks ago. You don't want that. You want to be a team player.
Well, I'm opposed to stupid football, but I'm not opposed to entertaining football and celebrating a touchdown once you've made a touchdown. I don't have a problem with that. But let's switch gears here a little bit, because what a weird day for Peyton Manning last Sunday. He breaks the all-time total yardage record, gets past Brett Favre, but he looked absolutely terrible. I mean, he was brutal, and they're saying now plantar fasciitis and a rib problem and everything else. But whatever he wasn't the Peyton Manning that we've seen in years past, that's for sure. It was hard to watch.
I think it was impossible to watch. I don't ever remember stats like this in the history of a starting quarterback in the National Football League. I mean, you couldn't do much worse. 5 completions and 4 interceptions than that. I've never seen anything like that. I don't know. He's obviously 38 years of age, and he's obviously has some injuries. I'm not questioning that. I don't know if Gary Kubiak had a choice. I mean, he was hurting his team at that point.
No, he had to make the switch.
He had to make the switch. So you don't want to, and certainly on a day when he sets the all-time record, you don't want to hurt his feelings. But Kubiak, I think, did what almost any coach would have to do.
And Brock Osweiler will get the start against Chicago this weekend. Man, it was just so painful to watch that go on. Okay, so the Panthers beat the Titans. The Pats beat the Giants. The Lions beat the Packers. The Packers 6-3, and now there's reports that Aaron Rodgers' problems are because he's dating Olivia Munn, the actress. They got more problems than his girlfriend.
Well, I think the loss of Jordy Nelson at the beginning of the year is the major problem in this team. Even when they were winning, they weren't winning like they should have been winning. They don't have another receiver that can do what Nelson can do. So Rodgers had that going for him. He no longer has that going for him. And you see how quickly things change as far as how you rate a quarterback? Everybody was saying, well, he can do it by himself. He can do it by himself.
Yeah.
No, he can't do it by himself. And I'm going to tell you something else, Larry and Mark, and you can agree or disagree. When we were single, and I was single for a long time, if I had broken up with somebody or had a fight, it would be tough to separate that.
Sure.
From doing a radio show or anything else. There was one time I was on KMPC, and honest to God, I was on a late night shift at that point at KMPC, and I was talking to my ex-girlfriend on the phone right before the show. I was tearing up. And this is, okay, now in Rodgers' case, he's playing a game with other people involved, where he's got to think of the right play, where he's going to be worried about getting killed by the defense. I think a love affair or lack thereof or too much of one.
Apparently the love affair is doing just fine, but people are trying to find reasons for the problems with the Packers, and this is what they're pointing at. And listen, we sometimes forget that athletes have personal lives, and those personal lives can certainly affect their professional lives as well. Madman, jump in here because I want to look at this week's NFL games, some big ones. Dallas at Miami, you got Tony Romo back. Green Bay at Minnesota, they're battling for the lead. Cincinnati at Arizona, should be interesting to see if the Bengals pop back. And then we got a Monday night game with Buffalo at New England. What do you like?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I like that Purple People Eaters in Minnesota. These guys are on a roll. Shades of Tarkenton, Foreman, Sammy White, Ranieri. I like the Vikings. I like the Vikings right now as a top NFC team, considering Green Bay's fallen, and everybody's on that Arizona bandwagon. Watch out. Here come the Purple People Eaters, guys.
Fred, you got any NFL picks this weekend?
I like, on Monday night, I like Arizona a little bit, -4 versus Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's going to I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I think I'd give the 4. The Arizona club, it has to be sky high. The Cardinals have to be sky high after what they did to Seattle last week. In the NFL, if you give double digits most of the time, Larry and Mark, you're going to lose 70% of the time. But there's one game this weekend. I like Seattle minus the 12 versus San Francisco. And again, folks, this is not on PhoenixSports.com because it's just a personal feeling, because I'm not going to give to you a team that is more than a double-digit favorite. But I think Seattle cannot lose another game. I think Carroll will have them so sky high, and it's the 49ers. So I do that, who play better than I thought they played this year. But I think Wilson will have a big day. I would give the 12 points, actually, against San Francisco.
And we'll see if the Bengals can bounce back in their game against Arizona, because they looked weak on Monday night. And this Monday night, Buffalo at New England, here's what Rex Ryan said. He said, I'd much rather play Orchard Park High School, but we're playing New England. The quarterback there never gets worse. What's wrong with him? When you get older, you're supposed to get worse. This dude's getting better. It's not right. I'm waiting for the wheels to fall off. All right, let's talk NBA here in our last couple of minutes. The Rockets fired Kevin McHale. They've got JB, what's the guy's name? Bickerstaff is in as the interim. The Clippers tonight, 6-4, hosting the Warriors at 12-0. What are you thinking about that game, Mark?
Well, this is a message sent game. The Clippers are going to send the Warriors a message. The Warriors should have lost the last game against Toronto, but it was one of these hometown calls. But I'm telling you right now, the Clippers have lost twice to these guys this year. This is a message-sent game, and I look for the Clippers to take these guys out big, double digits tonight.
And my understanding is that Chris Paul and J.J. Redick both went through shoot-around today, so they should be available possibly to play. How do you see it, Fred?
I don't know how I see it, but I read one article in one of the papers today that Jerry West thinks that his team, the Warriors, can get much, much better.
He said that on our show.
I don't know how they can get much, much better. I mean, Mark, obviously you would take the 6.5. The Warriors are actually a 6.5-point favorite on the road versus the Clippers. I have no opinion on the game.
Well, I'm going to spin the 6.5, and I'm going to give the 6.5 and take the Clippers.
Of course you would
spin
take it. I'm saying, of course, you would take the point. But what I'm saying is I heard this morning that Paul wouldn't be playing. Larry's given us new news that he heard that he would be playing.
Well, he went through shoot-around. He went through shoot-around today.
So that makes a big difference. I mean, I would pass on the game, just watch the game. If Paul plays, it would be a good game, no question about that.
And if you remember, Jerry West said on this open season show, he said, I think we can be better this year. I don't know if we can win more games than last year. But now they may be better and win more games, and I think they won 67 games last year. So we'll have to see what happens. And tomorrow night, Lakers hosting Toronto. The Lakers are 2-9. Beat the Pistons with Kobe. They lost to Phoenix without Kobe. Guys, Kobe's their leading scorer at over 16 points per game, but he's only shooting 34% from the field, 23% from three-point range. And I don't even know if he's going to make it through the season with the games off and on and off and on.
I just heard a story, just an allegation. Lakers have sent a letter to the National Basketball Association trying to get a redo on the draft of a few months ago.
Oh, come on.
A redo. Let's do it again. We
For
made
what
a mistake.
reason?
Well, because D'Angelo Russell obviously is not the second best player.
I mean, what legitimate reason?
They're stupid.
You're making this up, right?
We were stupid. We were smarter now. We've seen the big guys for the Knicks.
Yeah. We like Porzingis, yeah.
And we've seen the big guys around the league. We made a mistake. We admit it. This is Los Angeles, the second biggest media market. Help us out.
Okay, now listen. The Lakers have played 11 games. Get this. They're 9.5 games back of Golden State in the Pacific Division. After 11 games, they're giving up 105 points per game, and that is 5th worst in the NBA. All right, I don't know what's going to happen with either of these teams. I don't see anything yet on the American League Most Valuable Player. We know that Bryce Harper has won the National League, and we're expecting that Josh Donaldson or Mike Trout, and it looks as though Josh Donaldson has got it with 23 first-place votes, 385 points. Mike Trout second, 7 first-place votes, and 304 points. We will take next week off for Thanksgiving. We'll be back on December 3rd at 3:05 with our next edition of Open Season. Have a great holiday, everybody, and try to have some fun, okay?
Are you having any fun? What you getting out of living? What good is what you've got if you're not having any fun? Are you having any laugh? Are you getting any loving? If other people do, so can you.
This is 1050 AM KCAA Loma Linda and KCAA FM Yucaipa 106.5 FM.
CNBC Radio. United Healthcare, the nation's largest health insurer, cutting its earnings outlook and announcing it may opt out of offering individual plans through Obamacare, saying they just cost too much. That sent shares down 6% and took the whole healthcare sector lower, which offset gains in technology stocks today. In the Dow, 4 points lower at the close, the Nasdaq down just 1. Shares of Square, the mobile payments company, soaring 45% higher in their trading debut. Shares of dating